My name is John again, and today I am going to talk about my three solutions to help improve our nation's academic performance. Okay, this I'm not claiming that this is the end all be all, that this will 100% guarantee that our kids will do better and whatnot. What I am saying though, that these are three solutions that actually address some of the other factors that go into a child's academic success. If you saw my talk last time, I talked about the four factors that lead to student success in the classroom. And those four factors were teachers, parents, education system, and the students themselves. Unfortunately, I feel that a lot of the solutions that have been bantered about, that have been thrown about, only focus on the first factor, which are teachers, ignoring the other three, which is completely irresponsible and does not allow us to come up with a comprehensive solution that would really fix the problem of our kids not performing well in school. So, here are my three solutions in order to improve our nation's academic performance. Number one is self-paced learning. Number two, independent study. And number three, a parent tax. So first of all, when it comes to self-paced learning, the problem is that often in our education system, it's impossible for the teacher to ensure that all the kids understand and have mastery of a subject. He doesn't have enough time to do that. Instead, what we do is we just say, here's the pace. You either are able to keep up and learn everything, or you learn part of it. As long as you learn enough of it, let's say 70%, 60%, we pass you along, and that's it. And so kids are building foundations in math and science that are woefully incomplete. Okay? So that is the problem. So self-paced learning helps to fix it. There's a wonderful program going on in the Los Altos school district in California. Okay, and this thing called Khan Academy. You can find it on the web. What it is a self-paced learning program. It's wonderful. What they do in the classroom is that, and you're able to do this online as well, is what the kids do is there's a video lecture, okay, on all these different topics, like for example, having to do with arithmetic. And there are lectures on every single topic, video lectures, and the kids watch the video lectures on their own. And it's great because they can rewind things and fast forward through things, and they have complete control and repeat things over and over again until they understand these concepts that are being taught within these different topics. And the thing is that after they view the lectures, and they can always go back to those, then they get test questions, and they answer all these test questions, and they're not allowed to move on to the next topic until they are able to answer 10 questions on that topic in a row correctly. Okay, and the reason why is that they feel that reflects mastery of the topic. And so what makes the program so wonderful is that now the kids can go at their own pace. They can rewind things back and forth. They can make sure that they understand things. And the teacher has a whole bunch of power because the technology exists now, especially in that program, to track each student's progress individually. So you can see which topics they're working on, you can see what progress they're making, and you can see what topics they've mastered, which ones they're working on, and you also see which ones they're struggling in. And within the ones that they're struggling in, you can see how long it takes them to answer all these different types of questions. You can see what questions they're actually struggling with and how long it's taking them to finally get it. And what they found first of all, it's great because the teacher is now free to move about the room, and the kids are learning, and the teacher can focus on individual needs and address each individual need of each individual child and help them. Also, there are opportunities where the teacher can see that one student is struggling in a topic, but another student is a master in a topic, and group those kids together to help them learn. Also, there's an opportunity where the kids say, everybody's struggling on a particular topic, where you get the kids in bigger groups so that they can all talk together and work through to come up with solutions to actually figure out the problem. And actually figure the things out. So what they found with doing this as the kids are learning is that when they introduce topics, there are kids who just shoot off. And I mean, They get it and they just take off and they're just able to answer all the stuff and fly through all the different topics. But there are other kids who they start off, they're going at a good pace, but then they get stuck and they plateau. And they're stuck in the topic, and they're stuck in the topic, and they're stuck in the topic. And then they work at it, they work at it, work at it. And finally, one day, it clicks for them, and they get that topic and they pass through it. And then what they find is that their trajectory of learning the rest of the topics is just like the other kids. And they just fly off. And so the first group of kids who just immediately get it and go on, those typically would have been the ones who have been tracked as the smart kids. Okay, but then the other kids are the ones who struggle maybe with another topic until they get it. Well, what we see is that everybody's capable of getting this thing. It's just that some people might struggle with some different things. It might just be how things are taught. So self-learning, a self-paced learning allows all the students to be able to get 100% mastery of the topics that they're learning. So that is one solution. The next solution, independent study. There is a wonderful study that was going on. It's either one of the school districts, either Connecticut or Massachusetts. What they did was they took about 4 or 5 kids and they took them out of the normal classroom setting in high school, and they set them and they put them in a group. They said, you know what? You guys are responsible for your own education this year. Okay, so you guys pick topics that you guys want to learn about in history and math and education and English and social studies and history and all this stuff. You guys pick those topics, and then you guys are responsible for learning about them, learning about what you want, and teaching each other about them. And so they pick kids, they pick the A student, they pick the average student, BC students, and they picked a kid who was failing. He just was not doing well at all. And they gave him a teacher as a facilitator and a coach, basically when to check on the group's progress, and when the group got stuck or when the group was facing difficulties and whatnot, help them through it. And so what they found is that these kids, their learning was just off the charts. The reason why is because they were teaching each other, they were learning about all these different subjects, they were excited about what they were learning about, they were passionate about what they were learning about, and what they saw, even the kid who it was phenomenal. The kid who was the failure, the kid who always got D's and F's and whatnot, that kid actually, at the end of the year, was teaching them probability. He got into poker and started learning about poker. He was really interested in that. And so he started learning about pot odds and game theory, and he started learning about all these different probabilities and expectations that affect probability in poker, and was starting to teach the other kids about it. And he was like, yeah, so I just, I was learning about this and I just kind of get it now, And the other students looked at him and said, yeah, we think that's called learning. And he realized that, holy crap, I'm able to learn this stuff. And so what it shows is that, especially as kids get older, they're just force-fed information. They sit down in one class, information is dumped on them. They go to another class, information is dumped on them. And they just sit there and they're passive and they're learning about stuff that they don't really care about, they don't really see the point in, the stuff that doesn't really excite them. Okay, and so what you do with independent study, though, and what you're able to do with independent study is basically do the same thing. Put the kids and make them responsible for learning about responsible for their own learning. Not just responsible for their own learning, but also give them a problem. Say, you guys, as a group of 5, 6, 7, you guys think of a problem that really bothers you right now, and then you guys think of a problem, and you guys think of a solution, and you guys try to implement that solution. Imagine what they could learn by trying to do that. Because also in our education system, the problem is in the real world, when you have a real world problem, it's not clearly defined, and you have to try and fail until you do that. Okay, that's how the light bulb got invented. It was that Edison, he said, you know what, how can I turn electricity into light? And so he came with the idea of this light bulb. He tried to use this filament, and he tried all these different things until he finally discovered that tungsten was the way to work. Henry Ford said, how can I make a car, and how can I make it cheap and affordable for the average man? And so then he went on, he tried all these different things, and he came up with the idea of the assembly line. The founders of Google said, how can we make a search engine that's fast, that allows people to find information on the internet that they find relevant to them? And And so Google was born. How can we get video up on there? YouTube was born. How can we relay information from one end of the country to another? And the internet was born. But people had to try and fail. They had to learn about math. They had to learn about science. They had to take all this knowledge and learn new things and be able to teach themselves to make these things come into a reality. We don't teach our kids that. We don't teach them how to be problem solvers. We teach them that there's a clear problem and there's a clear and simple and easy answer, and if you're unable to find that answer, then you're a failure, you're not smart, and you don't understand, and you're not working hard enough. And instead, now you actually teach them how to be real problem solvers, how to learn, how to teach themselves, how to teach others, how to communicate, and how to really attack real world problems that matter to them. Because this generation that we're raising right now is responsible for solving the problems that are coming up. And we all know that there are huge problems. So independent study is another solution. The final solution is a parent tax. As I mentioned before, the reason why I did so well in school is because my parents valued education. Please believe that if I brought home a C, I got in trouble. Okay? They stress that you are expected to get an A and a B. It's not, oh, it'll be nice if you do it. No, you're capable of getting an A or a B. Get it. If you don't, there are consequences. So my sister and I, we got A's and B's. We graduated from school with GPAs above 3.0, and we each got scholarships to the schools that we went to for college. My point is this. Most parents do not value education like that and do not have an expectation for doing that. So you know what? The government can provide the incentive for parents to be real parents and to really value education. Instead of getting mad at the teacher for failing your student, now you're looking at your student saying, why did you fail? Because what you do with the parent tax is basically tax parents based on their student's performance. If your student scores has a GPA of a 3.0 or higher, you know what? You're exempt from that tax. If not, though, the further below a 3.0 that your child has, the more that you get taxed. So if your kid has a 2.5, you get taxed on your income 5% more. If your kid has like a 1.0, you get charged 15 or 20%. And the reason that you do that is because the parents look and start saying, you know what? Your academic performance is really costing me money. And I know what you're saying. You say, well, Quentin, is unfair to people who are poor. What about people who don't have enough time? What about people, what if I don't understand what my kids learn? I don't know algebra. I don't know geometry. I don't know physics. So, what about that? What if I'm unable to help my child? You know what? We live in the 21st century. And what I would say is this. First of all, if you're poor, there are plenty of free resources. There are plenty of government programs that will give you vouchers in order to get tutoring for your child. And there are plenty of places that do it for free. Okay. Also, you have the internet as a resource. And there are plenty of places to get internet for free, such as the library. You can go to the library, and you plenty of online resources to help your child learn whatever they don't know about. You can easily use Google and find people who will help you solve those problems. Also, these kids. What you have, even if you don't understand algebra, even if you don't understand geometry or anything like that, you don't have to. Your kid does. And a great way to determine if they know these things or not is to have your kid explain to you what their homework is about and what they're learning. If they stumble and bumble through it, they don't know what they're talking about. If they're able to talk to you and actually go through it smoothly and say, this is how it works, and you're able to ask them questions and they can answer it without having any trouble or difficulty, that means they understand it. You might not understand a word of what they're saying, but they get it. And see, the thing is, though, when you tax the parents and they say, holy crap, this is costing them money, then they will actually go through and make the full efforts. It is no longer, I hope you get an A or a B. It's, you need to get an A or a B, because that GPA needs to be above 3.0, because I am not getting taxed any more money to give to the government. You are not going to cost me any more money. And now the expectation becomes A or B. And now most kids are getting A's or B's. So those are my 3 solutions that can be implemented. And I'm not saying that these are the only solutions. There are no silver bullets. But what I am saying, though, is that these are ideas definitely worth trying. Try self-paced learning. Try independent study, especially at the high school level, and try a parent tax as well to make these parents actually be parents and be responsible for their children. Again, I'm John Citizen, and thank you for watching this message.